Hello everyone, so today we're going to be doing a video on my starting lineup, my fragrance starting lineup for the end of 2017, the colder months of 2017. This is a great idea. In this idea we have 6 different scents that we pick. The first one is a signature scent, the second one is a work scent, number 3 is a nights out scent, number 4 is intimate occasions or close encounters scent, number 5 is a formal occasion or dressed up scent, and number 6 is a daring scent. Great idea, love it. My only question is this: with a scent for nights out, intimate occasions, work, etc, etc, when the fuck do we wear the signature scent? Hello everyone, yeah, so welcome to my fragrance starting lineup. This one is going to be, as we're in August now, I'm going to do a fragrance starting lineup loosely based on slightly colder months of the year. So we're looking at the end of 2017, things are getting a little bit colder. It's not a seasonal list, it's not a top 5 winter list or anything like that, or top 6 winter list, but it will be based on the idea that we're going into the colder months of the year, and these would be good ones appropriate for that. And I'll probably do another starting lineup for sort of spring 2018 when things start to perk up a little bit. But it's not really a seasonal list, but I think it's worth having 2 because things do change depending on the weather. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the first one on the list is the signature scent. So a signature scent for the fall or autumn and winter. For me, a great choice would be Bogart PARFUM. So, as I've said, I'm not quite sure what the signature scent means when we have ones for different occasion, but I guess if I had to live with one fragrance for all of the colder seasons of the year, maybe not for work, but pretty much everything else, I'd be really happy with Bogart PARFUM from Jacques Bogart, the masterful perfumier. Maurice Roussel is behind this one, and I think it was a 2004 release. Some people describe this as a cross between Pure Havane by Thierry Mugler and Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male. It's not a bad description. There's a certain sort of barbershop element with this one. We've got lavender, there is bergamot, there's lily of the valley, rose, tonka and patchouli. Tonka is really important, as is lavender in this one. It's quite a sweet fragrance actually. And also with this one, a lot of people say there's a kind of cherry tobacco accord or vibe with this one. Neither cherry nor tobacco are listed as notes, but it has that kind of cherry tobacco-esque smell about it. It's quite a remarkable scent, very inexpensive. You can get it for really good prices for 100ml online. The only downside is it has to be, for many people, a blind buy because it's not in many department stores to test. It is somewhat sweet, a barbershop's kind of undertone is in there, and the performance on this thing is absolutely beast mode. It lasts for hours and hours and hours, and it projects really, really strongly, so watch out. Probably not a work scent, but for anything else in cold weather, it is different, it's sexy, it's classy, it's a little bit unique, and I really love Bogart PARFUM from the house of Jacques Bogart. Next up, we're going to go with a work scent now, and for work in the colder months of the year, I think I would at the moment go for Milano Cento HOMME from the house of Milano Cento. First released in 1989 and now re-released. It's an English house. I'm not sure how easy it is to get around the world. I'll try and put some details about that in the description. Lemon, petitgrain, bergamot are some of the notes. Lavender, rosemary, basil, clary sage. We've got sandalwood, patchouli, cloves, cinnamon, amber and musk. So essentially, again, it's a little bit of a barbershop feel, a very fresh, clean-cut kind of smell, with a certain element of citrus, but not like an Acqua di Parma, it's Colonia type of very, very citrusy, or 4711 citrus, because it's got a lot more of these herbal aromatic notes. So I guess it's a citrus aromatic stroke aromatic fougere type scent, but it's not a really rich, overpowering one, so I think it's work appropriate, and it just gives you that sort of well-groomed gentleman vibe. My little 50ml one here I think retails for £29.99 in the UK, or I think it's around about £50 for 100ml. Brilliant scent, similar to maybe things like Rive Gauche, if you like those kind of scents, but a little bit more transparent and fresh than those. Really love this one. I think it's just a great, classy, something different from the office other than Bleu de Chanel, excuse me, which, you know, wouldn't be a bad choice, but we're trying to be a bit different here. Next up, my night out scent would be, I think, Dior Homme Parfum. So what's good about this one is that it has amazing performance and projection, very, very strong, so you're going to be smelled even on cold nights out where scents tend not to perform as well, and when you're going to maybe be competing with other people wearing strong fragrances. Iris and sandalwood are two of the keynotes in this one. It's a bit like Dior Homme or Dior Homme Intense, but with an amplified leather note. There is still that lipstick bag kind of note in there. Some people say there's a bit of oud in this one. There is some rose and ambrette, so there's a kind of warming, sexy element to this one with the ambrette and the rose. The leather is a masculine note, of course, and this is a more butch version of Dior Homme Intense. It performs incredibly well. I love the iris note. I really love Dior Homme Intense, but this just gives it a little bit of something different, a little bit more depth. Real niche smelling juice, and superb for a night out in colder weather. Dior Homme Parfum, I rated it as my top designer fragrance you can buy easily today, and I still think so, so I had to put it in the list, didn't I? Next up, it's Intimate Occasions or Close Encounters scent. So, or I think someone even called it Close Combat or something like that. So, well, I guess what we're talking about, it could be anything, but romantic occasions with somebody that you're already familiar with. It could be a date night with your significant other, and yeah, maybe between the sheets, but you know, by the time we get there, as I always say, the fragrance has done its job. But leading up to that, intimate occasions with a member of the opposite sex or whichever gender you prefer. Xerjoff Naxos. This one again has a tobacco note in it, but there's citrus, bergamot and lemon in the beginning. We've got jasmine and cinnamon, and there's a lavender note in there too, and tonka and vanilla. Very similar actually to Thierry Mugler's Pure Havane, often regarded as the niche version of that absolutely beautiful, exquisite niche scent. Very expensive. I've only got a decant. The picture of the bottle you can see there. Really good fragrance. Performs incredibly well, so do be a little bit careful if you're wearing it for a close encounters type situation. But the smell is exquisite, a little bit sweet, but with that tonka and vanilla and tobacco giving it a really seductive vibe. It is actually unisex, but on a man I think it comes off a masculine sexy, but on a woman it comes off feminine sexy. Perfect. I would wear this for close encounters. Next up we have Fougère Royale, which didn't quite make it. We're talking now about the dressed up formal occasions situations. I almost picked Fougère Royale. I guess you can call it an honourable mention. It's one of the first, or it was the first Fougère fragrance back in the 19th century. Superb composition here by Rodrigo Flores Rus. It's got oak moss, tonka, lavender, carnation and cinnamon. If you like Fougère fragrances, you want something really deep, rich and classy smelling with a little bit of a retro vibe, Fougère Royale is a great choice, as is the next one, Fougère Nobile from Nobile 1942. Like you've taken Fougère Royale and added a little bit of tobacco and vanilla into that one, then you would get Fougère Nobile. So again, really nice, and maybe a little bit more modern with the sweeter notes, but didn't quite make it for my dressed up section. These were two honourable mentions. The one I would pick, Creed's Bois de Portugal. If you know my channel, probably still just about my favourite fragrance of all time. So in Bois de Portugal, we have in the top bergamot, then we've got some sandalwood and lavender, we've got ambergris and vetiver, and it is absolutely exquisite, this fragrance. I still say, and not many other people say this, but I have seen it on base notes, it's a little bit like an amped up version of vintage Chanel Pour Mature. It has that really kind of green and lavender mixture in there, and something really mystical, like a dusty old bookshelf, but in a really good way. Woody, deep, rich, a little bit spicy, can be described as a sort of woody oriental, but crossed maybe with a barbershop style fragrance. Absolutely classy. Frank Sinatra's signature scent, so they say. Not sure if we really believe that, but Bois de Portugal, which may be discontinued now, not sure, has a real deep, rich, woody element to it, a certain sort of green freshness, and a beautiful lavender and sandalwood and ambergris combination. Very rich, deep, definitely leans towards the more mature gentleman, but I find it to be an absolute masterpiece. So for dressed up occasions, that would be my go-to pick. There is a slightly big but with this one. I like big buts, and I cannot lie, and that is that a lot of people don't get it. So although I really love it, it's a real favourite, I would consider some of the other ones that I mentioned before this, because some people find this smells a bit much or a bit grandma-ish. Just bear that in mind. Next up, we're talking about daring scents. This one didn't quite make it to be my daring scent, but I wanted to give a mention to Chanel's Egoist. So from 1990, Egoist from Chanel opens up with some fresh notes. I think it's tangerine or mandarin, depending where you look. And then we've got some sandalwood and cinnamon. It's a little bit daring, I think, because it's not the one that people really are used to smelling, that kind of stuff now, but it's an absolute masterpiece. However, I wanted to be a bit more daring than that, so I've gone with this one. OPIUM Pour Homme, the EDP from Yves Saint Laurent from 1995. This to me is daring. There are some of the keynotes in this one: blackcurrant, star anise, vanilla, and some balsamic notes. It's called OPIUM, and it has that kind of intoxicating opium-like feel about it. It's very deep, it's very rich, it performs like an absolute beast. It's quite sweet, and it really does smell like a niche fragrance. This is an older version. There is a version that's out now that looks a bit different. I don't know the difference too much. I haven't tried the other one. The Eau de Toilette that you can get now, have smelled occasionally. This does smell similar, but this is like that, but more so. So OPIUM from Yves Saint Laurent, for me, for a daring scent for a night out. If I want to smell rich, noticeable, strong, a little bit sweeter than I perhaps normally do with some of my barbershop ones or my fresh ones, this is an absolute beast of a scent. Really worth checking out if you ever get the chance to try it. Even in the modern EDT, but the vintage EDP takes things up to the next level. An absolute beast. Seductive, sexy, sweet, and intoxicating. A fantastic classic scent that doesn't get enough talk in our YouTube fragrance community. So, those were my picks for my starting lineup for 2017. Let me know what you thought of my picks, or let me know your favourite choices. If you had a starting lineup, what would it be? Or even just your one or two favourites for the coming months, maybe September, October, November. What will you be wearing? What do you think is a good lineup that you can use in real life to smell amazing? Thanks for watching. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.